absolutely ridiculous. They'll believe anything. They'll believe anything. 没想法。
How comfortable do you feel talking about death? Obviously, this isn't a pleasant discussion to have, but one thing I've learned coming to Taiwan is that, people from different cultures really have different opinions and thoughts and just cultures about how they talk about death.
Yes.
So we're going to get into this today, and it's good to see you guys again. And Abby, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a great Saturday.
Yeah. So if you guys like what we're doing, if you like the content, please give us a bit of a hand and like, share, subscribe. So in Chinese, Abby.
按赞、订阅、分享。
Mm.
如果你喜欢我们的频道的话，请帮我们做这些事情。
Sure.
可以帮我们
And
更有动
give
力。
us a comment too. How does a comment?
comment， 帮我
Yeah.
们在底下留言。
If you think there's a topic you'd like us to talk about, like to hear a different perspective or opinion, please let us know because we're doing this for you guys. All right, Abby. So
Yeah.
you were telling me a story today, a bit of a sad story that your uncle's been a bit sick and he's in
Yes.
hospital.
His hospital.
And I suppose this is why you were thinking about this, talking about death issue. So maybe you can
Yeah.
give us a bit of context.
Oh, okay. Just like you said, my uncle is is in hospital and he's in coma. Because my mom is really close to my uncle, so the kind of situation brings her to about her death. Okay, so she
You mean
has
it forces her to think about her death.
yeah, like make her trigger her to think about what if she dead or she what's kind of going on. So she had a conversation with me. It's like it's not serious, just like a random talk. Although she talks about her regular life and all of a sudden, and her death. It's like, okay, because they are already like 70 something, almost 80 years old.
Okay.
My uncle is already almost 80 years old.
Okay.
So my mom think, since they are at this age, death is really close. And if she feel really sick and in the hospital, she didn't, also in the coma, she didn't want the really strong rescue, like make her pain. Lots of people, they want their family survive or alive. So they will use extreme treatments or like equipment to make them alive. But somehow you make the patients feel like more uncomfortable or more sick just because they have to alive, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, it's like I'm surprised that my mom took it with a more casual way, just like I say, it's like a normal thing.
Just talked about it.
To talk about it. Say, if I die, I don't want to rescue, and if I die, I don't want to bury on the land. She wanted to burn out,
To be cremated.
and maybe plant on the tree. Like a beautiful tree, a beautiful place. Because she think if it's like like put in the temple, and the younger generation of maybe our grandson or great-grandson have to, we say, respect them every year, right? But she thinks it's not necessary, like make the young
So she's
generation.
going kind of against what the culture does a lot in Taiwan.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like people doing what makes sense to them. But I suppose let's unpack. There were a whole lot of issues that you talked about there, so let's unpack them. Talking about death in Taiwan. So I mean, in my job, I help people with communication, and often I need to find topics. And one of the topics I give people to do a quick presentation on is about death. Like, what do you want your funeral to be? What will be important to you?
I remember that one.
And almost everybody, when I give it to them, like,
never
hey, we
thought
don't talk
about
about
it.
this in Taiwan. Oh, yeah, I've never
Yeah.
thought about it. We
Yeah.
just don't discuss that. So
Yeah.
I suppose that was that first issue you talked about. Like, it seems difficult for people to talk about death in Taiwan.
It's like a forbidden thing or banned thing. Because people think when they talk about it, it will bring bad luck for some
That's the
people.
reason, I see. Because even like for people who've never been here, so many of the words that are seen as bad luck have something to do with death. So like number 4, right?
4
Sounds like the word for death. So in Taiwan, a lot of, especially older buildings, the elevators don't have a 4th floor.
Yeah.
Just for that, right?
And you can see the car plate, never have 4.
Oh, really?
On the
Interesting. I hadn't seen that, right?
You can check.
And then giving someone an umbrella is bad luck. You know?
Umbrella? Oh, they don't want to open the umbrella.
It's connected to death as well, I think, right? Or no?
No. But it connected to ghost.
Oh, it's connected to ghosts. Okay, so I got that one wrong. And what about clocks? I know giving somebody a clock is bad.
Clocks is bad because you give people clock as a present, and the Chinese, it sounds like send them to respect them to death or just
so lots of bad things all connected to death. Yeah. So death is this really negative thing, right?
Like people will try to avoid things that make others link it to it.
When I first met my ex-wife's mother, I arrived with a big thing of white flowers. And I expected this great result.
White flower.
And all I saw was this look of horror on her face when I gave her the flowers. It was the worst first introduction ever.
Normally we bring the kind of flower to
the
death people.
I know. I found out later because the strange reaction. And I was like, "What's wrong with your mom? She doesn't like the gift." And he was like, "No, look, those are funeral flowers." So I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh,
so I really put my foot in my mouth with that one.
And for some people, they would think dress like all black is also kind of linked to funeral, because in the funeral, people were dressed like all white or all black. But
so it's not just a group of techno people; it's more like something else. You know, people who go to techno parties are all black.
So I remember some weddings in foreign countries. They all dress like black or white.
White, I think, is more common. Black is more common for funerals.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so people definitely wear a lot of black at funerals, and yeah. So it's interesting, but people in Taiwan just don't like talking about death. The other thing that I've also seen, which is interesting here, is keeping people alive. It seems like the goal often when people get old, or at least the goal from their family members, is to try and keep that person's heart beating for as long as possible. Yeah. So I don't know how true the statistic is, because I helped this one guy prepare for his MBA. And I think he said that his family was in this kind of old care. They manage or build these homes that care for old people. And he said to me that in, I think it's countries like Sweden, people lie on a bed before they die. It's just for a few weeks. And that in Taiwan, it's 11 years. People often lie down on the bed for 11 years before they die. So I don't know if that's a true statistic, but he mentioned that to me. And you definitely see it, because if you walk around Taipei, you often see people being pushed around in wheelchairs by an Indonesian or Filipino kind of health worker.
Yeah, help
and
them.
I mean, these people, they can hardly move, hardly do anything. They look, no disrespect to them at all, but they look like, I don't know, zombies. It's like blank expression on the face.
They don't know what they're
not speaking. They're not actively looking around where they're going. It's just someone pushing them around. I just feel very sorry for these people.
But sometimes for the family member, it's hard for them to say, "Hey, how about I see you so painful, so maybe we can just put you to end your life peacefully."
So
I think that they don't want to sally,
I see. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. So you mean they might have this idea, but they can't bring it up. And then possibly that old person is following culture as well, and saying, "I'm not going to bring it up." So both parties might actually want that, but just no one will talk about it.
Yeah, if the patient is so sick, they couldn't explain by themselves, but at a time that his family member don't want to bring out, they don't want to send them to death, because it will feel them more guilty, like they are doing some crime thing.
Okay. But I mean, the old people, do you think that they have that idea That they're sitting there going, I wish this was over.
Maybe I think
But they won't say it.
or if they can say it, they should write it down before they couldn't explain themselves. You know, because it needs to bring like a legal thing, because it like
But that's not legal in Taiwan, is it?
like if we want to, I mean, it's more like in hospital when you are emergency, and
It's called the DNR, do not resuscitate. Like, don't bring me back to life.
yes,
kind of
yes,
thing.
yeah, the kind of thing like the patient can decide it before they will.
Okay. But it's different to like what they have in some places in Europe where you can choose to end your life.
Oh, that's a different.
Okay, so that's that one. Yeah, interesting, right? Because as I say, a lot of those people that I see, I don't think that they have any quality of life at all. I mean, just being
Yes.
pushed around all day in a wheelchair
Yeah.
by someone that you don't really know very well.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, it just doesn't seem to be like I would want that at all. I'd much rather have it end.
Right. So think about that. I think we should talk about the situation when we are younger, so we can foresee that and prepare by ourselves. Like when you ask me, when we do the speech, the topic, about what do you want your funeral looks like, and what do you say is like, you want to play music?
Oh, my one. Oh, you talking about my one?
I remember you want to play music, and if you have to too sick, you rather to drink alcohol, like
No.
like
Actually, no. What I said is like, if I get too sick, like rent an apartment for me for a month near a beach, and provide me with all of the alcohol and drugs I could want, and I'll end it in style.
happy to die.
Yeah, you'll find me dead in a chair with a massive smile on my face, right? I'll end it well. Give me all my favorite food and drink and the rest of it, and yeah, let me just do it my own way.
Yeah. And then that really makes me think, yeah, because people are gonna die. If I die, I want to die like more happily. Or like
On your own terms, right?
or no regret.
Yeah.
Just
Do you remember what I told you for my birthday, for my funeral?
what?
Like my fiance already knows, and my mother too. Like I've told them exactly what needs to happen. Like I don't
What?
want any religion at my funeral, and everybody who wants to come in has to tell a joke. Yeah. If I have enough money, you get my favorite band or my favorite DJ to play.
I remember that.
Fantastic. No crying.
Yeah, no crying.
Free drugs and alcohol for anyone who wants them.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, and then I want you to put pictures around the room, wherever it is, any picture of me that you can find. Embarrassing ones, fun ones, happy ones, sad ones, whatever you can find.
To remember.
And just spend the night talking about me. Just talk about me, talk about stories, talk about stupid shit I did, talk about great things I did if I did any, what you loved, what you're going to miss, and just have a big party. That would make my spirit rest. Really, it would. Like, spirit would be like, dude, we sent it off with the greatest party. Done. Yeah, so they already know, like, that's what I want. So, and now it's on camera, so there's no excuse. Because really, it would be the biggest disrespect to me ever if I died and people put me in a church or something. Like, I'd be like, dude, that's not me. That wasn't how I lived my life. So I don't want that. I want something that represents me.
All right.
Fun, sometimes crazy, sometimes stupid. That if it can embody those three principles, I'll be pretty happy.
Oh, that brings me to remember a movie called Captain Fantastic.
Why is that? Because you think I'm fantastic? No, I'm joking. keep going.
It's a story about a father and a couple homeschooling a bunch of kids, but the mother died. All right. And the mother's parents want to do it like a more regular way funeral in the church and put into the box and bury to the land. But I think that's not the mother's will. So what they do is like the father and the kids ran to their funeral and dress like a very colorful.
Yeah.
And like they play the music and they like store the mother's body into some nature and burn it out to the like ash.
Sure.
And they put the ash to the toilet, flush it. And,
That's interesting.
and
All right.
and everyone's singing.
Sure.
And so then remembers me.
I'm
about
not
the
so
movie.
sure about the toilet part. But
You can put it to the ocean or to someone.
even better, do it really old school. So have the funeral near a river, and then they put the body on a whole lot of wood and float down the river and have a dude with a bow and arrow and fire, and it lands there and then burns and everybody waves goodbye. Fantastic.
That needs some skills. I don't know. Looks like
Person
what
is
they
really
call-
good at the bow and arrow. Right?
Oh my god! Or about the fireworks. You can
Yeah, but they do this in the movies, right? They send the dude down the river, and then he's on a whole lot of wood that will really burn, and then the one guy, and then
I'm not sure if it's legal, but it
well,
sounds
you're
like a
already
movie.
dead, right? So, I
No,
mean,
I
what are they going to do? Sue you?
Damaging the element because you put the fire everywhere. So
Yeah,
maybe they put
it's-
in the firework
it's just a
on,
dream.
on the New Year's.
Sure. Yeah, all that I've said to people, just burn the body, go to one of my favorite places, and just sprinkle it somewhere and say goodbye, right? Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. It's for me, it's I think I've lived life. I've done a whole lot of things. I don't want people to feel sad, even if I died tomorrow.
You think
You know?
if you want people to talk about the stories,
Mm.
lots of your story, your memory on your funeral.
Yeah.
So I think it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy because you are really alive. You are really lived in this world. So you have lots of story. You have really close friends and family. So you create a really beautiful memory. So they can talk about it.
Yeah, that's why you need to have alcohol or other things, right? Get people in the right mood. Yeah. No one should be too sad.
So I think it is in that idea. It's just like no regret. Because people gonna die at the end, so you have to think about it. And so every time you, like sometimes we made a decision, I was like, maybe we're gonna die one day. Maybe we,
No, maybe we're gonna die one day.
no. Maybe we don't know when we're gonna die. So when
Sure.
you make some movement or some action, just make it no regret. Just really to
Yeah, I like
life.
it. It's like what you were saying with your mom. Your mom was discussing what she wants to have happen. So, yeah, I mean, if that's why I like to talk about this kind of thing, because if you think about that, it might influence you now. It might say to you, hey,
Yeah.
think about what's important now, what you
Yeah.
should do. Because you don't want people to have your funeral one day and they'll stand up and they're, right, everybody, please say something about Richard. You're like, I knew that guy. He worked, he lived. Like, no stories to tell, right? It'll be a bit sad if if people don't have anything to say. I'd much rather say that dude was fucking crazy, man. I mean, he did blah blah blah, he did blah blah blah. The one day he did this, nobody could understand. Like, way better,
Way
right?
better, right?
Yeah, just like show that you lived. So, you know, how sad it would be. Like at your funeral, no one had anything to say.
Yeah, I think at the funeral, if people talk about happy thing, or what, like, I think it's like more respect to the people. I mean,
I think so.
because of what you remember is happy thing, happy memory.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a dead body?
Yes,
Yeah. How many? More than one?
more than one.
I think I've only seen one or two, and I remember the one. It was an ex-girlfriend I had, and I think her aunt died. And we went to this one house, and we had to walk right. Like they put the coffin, the box, open in a really small room. So you had to. Everybody made like a line and was walking around that box. But I mean, you were like right close. Oh man, I don't know what happened, but it affected me so badly. Like I walked out, and I didn't even know that woman that well. But like I started crying. I got my phone. I was like phoning my mother. I was like, oh, yeah, like it freaked the fuck out. Like I was like not a happy dude after that. Like that was hard to
Sometimes
see.
they would dress the body, but
I don't think they made her look too good. That was one of the other things that freaked me out. But just being that close to a body, just like had some kind of effect on me. It was like,
Oh,
it was
okay.
harder.
I see.
Have you had a similar reaction?
I have no one not often like this, but I think I remember I see like two bodies. One is my grandma, and they dressed her and put some makeup, so it looks like a normal. Okay, so I don't feel nothing.
Okay.
Something
So they did
weird.
a decent job with the makeup.
Yeah,
then,
decent job. But another one is about my friend. That we are around 12 years old, and he has an accident.
Oh, shame.
I don't know, somehow they put it in the ice box.
Okay.
It's like a funernal in an ice box, and his parents allowed us, our classmates, to see him, so they pulled out on the ice box. At a time, they didn't dress up. They didn't dress.
No makeup or anything.
No makeup, but
jeez. And they showed this to kids. What was the point?
because we say we want to see
Oh, you
him.
wanted to see him.
We want to see him
jeez,
because we are
okay.
close friends. We say, we want to see him. So it's like a kind of memory. At least I don't feel like really scared.
But still, like a bit hard to see that, right? Oof.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's such an interesting topic because, like, you can see, like, we can laugh about it, but then it also gets very serious. And the interesting thing, like I said earlier, was just being in Taiwan and seeing this very, very different attitude towards death. You know, so I mean, like, for me, death was a big part of my life. My dad died when I was like 3 months old. So not every year, but many years we'd go there once a year, go like put some flowers but for me, because I'd never met him, but he died because I was so young. It was always just like this strange concept of who this person was.
Okay. Never seen him.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing is, like, for a large part of my life, I never really wished that he was alive because I'd never known the person.
You
so
have
just this thing in my life. There was this dude who was dead, and he was a father, and only now in my 40s, the first time in my life have I ever said, I wish my dad was alive. Only now, and I can't figure out exactly why it's happened, but yeah, it's like been the first time. It's almost become real for me as I've gotten older in some strange way.
maybe before is the death image is about your imagination. Like you can like rely on the imagination, but so you don't want to see him alive because it maybe gonna conflict with your imagination. I don't know, but maybe when you're 40 something, you are more mature, you can accept it. You don't really rely on the imagination, so you start to figure out so who he is. I guess. I don't know.
Maybe. I also kind of feel like now it's been this thing of like once you get older, right? Like a lot of the people that you know like for me are younger than me. So in a way, I think it's also like I'd love to have someone older and wiser who I could really talk to, who was in my corner, who was on my side,
I see.
and who I could just say anything I wanted to say. Like, I've never had that.
And he can understand you because he's on the
he's
position.
100% on your side because he's your dad, right? So I never really had that experience, and I think that just now as I've gotten older, maybe it's become clearer what I just kind of wish I had. So it's interesting, like, as I say, like, to see death in this way is like, I had it my whole life, but even then, the concept has changed over time and become something different. You know, so it's like I see people who go through this death experience where someone dies, and I see how sad they get. And then I look at myself, because I had this person, this dad who was always dead. I feel like my attitude towards other people is who go through it is quite different. And then I think
other people.
Well, yeah. So I mean, like, for someone who hasn't had that happen to them, and I see how they are with like their parents and dying, they have this kind of way they see it, but almost because I had that my whole life, it was like this shadow, this thing that followed me. like my attitude towards it is different. So everyone's experience of death is just such a unique and different thing. It's very fascinating. And then, as I said, coming here and you see the way the culture thinks about it as well, it's also very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So what else did your mom say to you in that conversation?
Basically, is talking about what her idea, what is she gonna do, and she thinks she just have no regret. Basically, it's like this, but the kind of conversation brings me to think more, like what people feel after the death.
After they're dead.
Yeah.
You mean like the afterlife kind of thing?
You know, like I think like a funeral. Those things we have people have lots of ritual, lots of process, but I don't think that's almost for the dead people. I think it's more about the alive people.
I think it depends. Right?
Sure.
I think that the Buddhists like have people who like surround the body for like the first 48 hours. I'm really don't trust me on the exact fine details, but I think that Buddhists do this, right? They like surround the body and then they repeat certain things to guide
make it peace.
to guide the soul through the beginning part of after you die, because I think the soul is in a different kind of place and it might be a bit scary, so they're trying to help guide that soul through that initial phase, something like that. I think I've read that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think some of the rituals are like that, designed to guide that soul, right?
I think so, to guide the soul and make it more peaceful. So like in funeral we were invited monk. They like read the religion books. Okay, like to make it peaceful, and we will use paper to build out like a house or
this I wanted to talk about this one.
cars, you know.
So for people who don't know this, in Taiwan, you will see something which will blow your mind if you ever go to a funeral.
They don't,
But we don't have it in other countries, right? Like people will spend money to buy stuff made of paper, little replicas. So if you want your grandfather, let's say, to have a Ferrari in the afterlife, you buy a small Ferrari made out of paper, and then you burn it, right?
And you can have a big villa with yard,
a villa,
or maybe some poppies.
I've seen iPads made out of paper. And money, like it's a huge
money is
one,
definitely lots of
like
money.
huge stacks of fake money, and you pay real money to buy the fake money, and you
burn
burn
it.
the fake money
Because you think those stuff can send to the dead people, and they can live with the stuff in another world.
So you can have a villa and a Ferrari and an iPad, and then you'll think the other relative's going to be like chilling and driving his car around in the afterlife.
So you have a car, really expensive car. But that's what I think. It's these things really for the dead person. I think it's more for their family feels like more
like they've done something.
More
it's some kind of a duty towards them. I even saw a bicycle, a full-size bicycle,
maybe because
made out of paper.
Yeah,
I've seen some crazy ones. Like
I don't know. I probably watched some video and they talk about this. They say, "Hey, there is any inflation on the world because people will keep printing money and send it to them. There will be a crazy inflation in the world."
So I mean, for me, like I think it's pretty cool to see that as the culture, but like it also seems, I think a lot of religions, the way that they describe death just doesn't seem realistic. It's so much like the human world, but you got to think that in the spirit world, it's got to be very different.
I think because people are afraid of death. At the time, they don't know what's the world after death. So, church or some religion, they will tell you what it's gonna be. The pictures, what the world it is. So they will tell people, hey, if you want to go to heaven or the hell, so there's a guideline for you. So
sure, but I mean the way that they describe it and stuff just doesn't seem to be that logical, because when you're like a spirit or your soul, you got to think there's no more up and down, left and right, like direction, because you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. And just the idea of having eyes that you can see, why would we think that it would be like that? It might just completely be all about feelings or, so many things. It's like people try and guess. And then if you watch YouTube, there are actually I've watched a lot of them recently, people talking about like the guys who like die for 20 minutes and come back.
Oh.
I'll send some of them to you. Yeah, you guys can look at them. You can search this stuff.
Right.
And it's crazy because you see some people, they were very worried people, and then they had this death experience, and they came back like calm and optimistic. Yeah, and most people, most of the stories that I've seen, the people describe kind of a light as well. But then feeling this feeling of complete peace and complete calm. And then when they come back, not being scared to die. Because I think that the main thing is that they go through this experience and they realize like it didn't end. Like even though I died for a bit, shit was still going on. So I know that there is something. And I think that's a huge thing. If you know, yes, there is definitely something after I die, well then I'm not worried. But if that's the end, it's just about lights out, curtains closed and finishes, then and you came back, you'd be like, dude, I'm not going back there. It's at the end. But if you know that there's something to go to, you're going to feel way better, right? And think more hopeful and less worried to die.
I've heard about that. Just people say after they die, they will see like a light, and they were going to that, and they feel peacefully. And like I just say I had a friend, and he died in 12 years old. And that time, this is my first time to face death. I feel so sad. And I remember one day I crying on the bed and think about, oh my God, what he's gonna do. And somehow I see him like floating in front of me. Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know because I'm in the half of almost sleeping below. Just like I'm not really aware of it. But I somehow I can see his body and his face. He wears like normally he dressed the casual one, and he smile, and she say, "Hey, don't cry. It's so ugly. So you shouldn't cry anymore." Just like what he gonna say in normal way, and then he disappear. But why he looks is very casual. Yeah, and I have another friend, when she died, they have a funeral in their house. So friends went to her house to respect her. There is a girl is more sensitive, and she say she can see my friend. She said, oh, she didn't know she already
see
died.
The spirit kind of.
Yeah, she said she can see the spirit, but since she didn't know she already died, she's wondering like how many friends and people come to my house. What are you doing here? So I think it's more like after they die, it remains more like a positive way or more not miserable thing.
Sure.
Just more like a spiritual.
Yeah. Or maybe if ghosts are real, maybe that whole thing you see in the movies, like a ghost is almost like a soul that has unfinished business and can't leave. Makes some sense.
I think there's another situation.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you hear stories like this. One of my brothers died a few years ago while I was in Taiwan.
Okay.
And then I couldn't go back to South Africa, but another brother told me about how they took the ashes to the sea and to scatter them into the sea. And apparently, he said to me that the sea was very calm that day. There were like no waves.
Oh.
I think it was in Cape Town in South Africa, I think. And it was very calm, and they went there. And then he said that when they threw the ashes, they kind of turned around, and all of a sudden, a huge wave just came out of nowhere and whoosh, and splashed all over them. And then he said that to them, that was like he'd heard what they were saying at the time. Something I'm a bit fuzzy on the story, but but he said there were like no waves at all that day. They didn't see a single wave. except that one wave after they threw the ashes, there was a big wave that came.
Oh.
Yeah, and you hear all sorts of stories like this about, from people. I don't know if it's maybe people's brains play a trick, or hey, maybe there is something there, right? So interesting. Have you seen like sometimes there are like some rich people? I've seen it in movies, and I've heard it's true as well, that they pretend to die so that there can be a funeral, so that they can see who comes. Because they want to know, like, did the people... I think it's probably a rich person's thing, right? They want to know who was my real friend and who wasn't. So they stage their death, and then they have a funeral, and they have a camera, or they go and watch, and they say, who came? And if you didn't come for some reason, they're like, yeah, good, that's just a fake one there. So if I really die, you're not getting anything. So
or it's like a test for his family.
Yeah.
Because you are too rich, so you have lots of family branch. You can see how they fight each other.
Yeah, fake your own death. Right? Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, tell me about you. What do you want? I told you mine. What do you want when you die? Have you had more chance to think about that? What's your funeral?
Before I was thinking, I gonna take a documentary, you know. I gotta record what I travel, where I travel, what I do, or what's some.
But then you have to know when you're gonna die, so you get it ready. But you might not know when you're gonna die. So
that's one thing. But I can make it regularly, record my life. And in my funeral, I can play the documentary, or I write a book, and it's like about myself, what I think about it, and remain it.
Sure.
But right now, I think maybe it's different because what I do is all about myself.
Sure.
But I want to maybe try to do something is like a react to people. But I still didn't figure out yet.
Sure. Hey, by the way, explain one thing to me.
Yeah.
I've seen it sometimes with the funerals in Taiwan.
Okay.
When it's like a rich guy, they have the girls that take off their clothes, the strippers at the funerals. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, like sometimes like around the temple, they'll put a whole lot of tables, and then they have like those girls who dance right on the stage with a pole dancing kind of thing.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Actually, I don't know.
Like, is that because like if you're a rich guy and you can afford that, then
I think it's not
like,
because of rich
prestige or what?
No, I think that's the culture in South Side.
Okay, I've heard they do that in China as well, though.
Oh, really?
I've heard. I don't know if it's true. I mean, you just
make them happy, make their people happy. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
sure,
really know why
why
they're doing
not?
that.
In fact, I think I should add that to my party. I want some pole dancing girls when I die. Yeah. Everybody gets a free lap dance. Something at the party.
There will be lots of people come to your funeral.
Yeah, man. You put on the flyer, free lap dances. But everybody's going to come, right? Free alcohol, free music, free lap dances. It'll be a good party.
It's like a party. So the people say, what's going on right now? Hey, say hi to this guy. So, hi, thank you for that.
There you go. Well, when we said we were going to talk about death, I thought it was going to be a sad conversation. So I'm pretty happy that we managed to do this and laugh and talk. Yeah. But yeah, I think we'd love to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think about death and funerals? Have you got any cool ideas for when you die? So yeah, you can let us know in the comments and we'll talk about it. So
yeah.
Right. So yeah, thank you for that topic. That was pretty good.
Oh, thank you for the talk with me.
All right, so don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and we're moving to the next topic.
Yeah, 按赞、订阅、分享，谢谢。